I'm Andrew Sherman. I'm a Texas transplant who has always been in pursuit of art as a career. I've played in bands, pursued an acting career in Hollywood, but I found it behind the lens of a camera here in Dallas, Texas. I was born in New York, I've lived in Chicago, Los Angeles, Austin, but I love Dallas. There's a magical artistic scene in Dallas that mostly goes unnoticed to the outside world. This podcast is focused on what makes it so special and the people who make it thrive artistically. If you don't live here, and even if you do, you might not have heard of them. This is the Dallas Famous Podcast. So who you gonna be? Who you gonna be when you're all grown up? This week on the Dallas Famous Podcast, it's John Pedigo. John is a talented musician, a prolific producer, and a vital part of the Dallas music scene. From his early days in bands like Slick 57 and Boys Named Sue to his work with the O's and his production work with some of Dallas's most exciting artists, including Joshua Ray Walker, John's journey is a testament to dedication, creativity, and the love of making music. Since this recording, John has also announced that he has purchased the All Good Cafe in Deep Ellum and plans to keep the beloved spot thriving. We look forward to what he does with it, and we look forward to this episode. Here it is. The Dallas Famous Podcast is supported by the Mullen & Mullen Music Project. The Music Project was created by Mullen & Mullen Injury Law Firm to champion the independent music scene in North Texas. Welcome back to the Dallas Famous Podcast. We're on location in John Pedigo's studio. Thanks for having us out here. It's a cool little room you got.
I'd say thank you for having me on your show.
Right.
And thanks for coming over to my studio.
Yeah. We talked about this last season, and I think it's just taken you a minute to get it to where you want it to be. I mean, how close are you to being done in here?
I think it's always a work in progress. I would imagine it'll never be done. It's kind of like when you work on music, you don't ever actually finish anything. You just kind of abandon the project at some point, and you're like, that's done for now.
You're kidding, because when you make an album, it's like it's released. Like, well, maybe that's not how the song is live, but that's how it is.
Right. At that particular moment, that's how that song comes out.
Right. For those that don't know, John is a musician. He's a producer. You've been in like 5 or 6 bands?
I've been, yes, many bands.
Yeah.
To give you a brief backstory, late 90s, I'm an older guy, so the late 90s I had a band called Slick 57 that started kind of while I was going to college. And as soon as we kind of graduated college, we hit the road, and that band was called Slick 57. With one of your past guests. Was Ward on your show, or you were on his podcast?
I was on his, yeah.
Okay.
He's on the list for next season.
Yeah, so with Ward Richmond, and we got to go, it was the first band I got to go to Europe a few times with, got to go to Australia and New Zealand, so we really toured pretty heavy, and then all the way through the U.S. forever. And then while that was going on, we realized we couldn't play in town so much because we needed to we needed to make money, and if we played in town all the time, no one would show up. If you play all the time and oversaturate, so we started a band called Boys Named Sue, which was a relatively country cover band, but we also recorded our own original albums and stuff. And that band could play all the time, and we played many times a week. And then while still touring,
because of the covers.
Because of the covers,
yeah.
You could kind of get away with whatever. And we'd get residencies, say, at Muddy Waters or 8 Airs or wherever, like that we could kind of find it, and we'd just play once a week or, supplement. And then that kind of wrapped up at some point, and I was wanting to start a new band, and we had Taylor Young. He was filling in on drums for a Boys Named Sue show, and after it, we were drinking, and I was like, he started talking about how he writes songs, and I was like, oh, I write songs. Like, what are you talking about? And by the end of the night, I was like, look, I'm going to buy a banjo, and I'm going to come over to your house, and we're going to start doing this. I just need to order it, and I need to figure out a couple of things. And literally, like a few weeks later, I was like, hey, what are you doing? I got a banjo, and I showed up at his house, and we just started. And the first day we recorded, but we kind of wrote 4 or 5 songs, and that became kind of an EP pretty quickly. And then we took that to Irv at Idol Records, and he was like, yeah, I'll put it out. And then so we finished making a full album, and then within like months we learned how to be a band.
Wow.
So it was really fast. But he had come out of Polyphonic Spree and wanted to tour. I had come out of X amount of bands at this point and I was like, I wanted to be on tour. And so us talking about it was like, we can't have a 30-person band. That's ridiculous.
Right.
And it's like, if we have 2 people, we can easily not, we can just get in a van or get in whatever car and we can hit the road. And that was really kind of a logistical call. And the banjo could be a percussive thing. The guitar could hold it together, and he's kicking a big drum. So the whole thing, I don't know, it was luck in a way, and eventually we just kept going.
Yeah, no, I remember because I first became aware of you when I lived in LA working on Chevy Music Showcase. I was telling you before, I didn't work on your episode, but I came in after yours was done. So I was using your season to study to figure out what I was doing. And I remember, like, because I was in LA, I was like, wait, they're doing it with just 2 people? Like, why? Like, oh, and then my boss was like, oh, because Tommy, it was because it's just easier. It's like logistic. They can tour. It's cheaper. And I'm like, okay. And then I listened to it, and I was like, it really kind of broke my brain in a good way, because I was like, they're doing it. Like, how are they doing it? Like, why didn't I think of this before when I was playing? I'd been just done playing at that point pretty much. But yeah, it was cool. It opened my eyes a little bit to like doing a lot with a little, as it were.
Yeah, I mean, the limitations are we didn't have a bass player, right? And that would, if we're competing with like a huge band, sometimes, well, not competing, but you know what I mean?
Sound-wise.
Right. If we're kind of like playing, and sometimes it could be a little, depending on who was running sound, if they didn't really understand, it was like, because we were pretty like serious about like, make sure the kick drum's loud enough where it becomes our bass player. But if you mixed us like you thought should be mixed, which would be like a folk band with like a little tit drum, then then it's not as just not as exciting.
See that be challenging. Yeah, I mean,
so it was always like, I don't know, it wasn't frustrating, but we got to do like, I mean, the O's got to play in some of the coolest places that I've ever played in. We got to play like the Hammersmith in London and Empire in Liverpool, and just like serious venues, like, and then. I remember when we did play the Hammersmith, we were playing. It was so cool. Fucking, big show. There's like catering and this whole thing. Like a chef was on site. It was amazing. And then we fly back home and we played at the Fine Line Festival in Denton for like 6 people. Right. And I was like, dude, 2 days ago we were playing in front of thousands of people. We just got off this tour. It was so cool. But that's music, right? That's the real of music.
Oh yeah. I mean, also, I would guess you'd be a good opener because it was like easy to get you on.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we never, well, at least relatively speaking, we tried not to make any kind of fuss. It was a small imprint,
right?
And in and out, got out of the way. We generally didn't go over our time. It was we were pretty seasoned and knew what not to do a lot of the time.
And you took a break, but you're doing shows again?
Yeah, we still have a radio show on 95.3 The Range every Friday between 4 and 6.
Wait, I did not see that in my notes.
That's right. No, yeah, every Friday 4 to 6 on 95.3 we play we do a radio show. So yeah, check it out. It's cool.
You're doing like you're playing and you're DJing?
We're just DJs. We play other people's music
cool.
And we yap between songs. It's very handy.
Yeah.
And we play here and there. We just did a little run out to Colorado where we did some dates. And we've got a show coming up in November. We do this show every year, like that Rhett Miller kind of curates. It's for a CF benefit, and we'll be doing that because we've done it for the last 12 years or whatever.
Yeah, I'm going to try to make that one this year.
Oh, it's super cool. This year, Ben Queller and Cody Canada are on it.
Yeah, I've missed both those guys, so that's part of the reason I want to check it out.
Ben's awesome. Solo, it's fun. These are really fun. I think it was last year or the year before, like Vaden was on. That was super cool. Like just
of the
hearing him.
For those that don't know.
Yeah, but it was cool hearing like the just acoustic. And Sarah Jaffe was on that one too. That was fun. And every year it's pretty exciting because it's something different. And it's relatively intimate, and there's not a ton of people kind of in your way, so it's really cool.
Cool. Yeah, I got on the calendar. I've had on the calendar every year, and then something comes up, but I think this year I'm going to make an effort to just get there.
Yeah.
We kind of skipped ahead to like college, but like you're a Dallas kid, like what was the initial like music as a thing like that I want to do, like first instrument or first moment?
Well, I don't know. I guess I had buddies that play like Dan Phillips. I feel like I watched him play. You know Dan Phillips?
Mm-mm.
He had a band called Slow Ride back in the day, and I was a big fan of like what he was doing. And I think me and my buddy Neil would be like, "Oh man, I'm gonna play guitars." So we had our own little band, and I just saw my buddy Neil the other day in our sixth grade talent show. We played a few songs, and we were so psyched. We got up there, and what we just talked about. We were like talking about what we played, and we remembered that we played Guns N' Roses. I used to love her, but I had to kill her, like at the sixth grade talent show. And I guess it at the time it didn't seem that crazy because that's all we were listening to. It was like Guns N' Roses and stuff. Anyways, but no, I started playing guitar, I guess, because I wanted to play rock and roll, and then at some point, somebody played a Pixies tape, the album Bossa Nova, and that absolutely kind of blew my mind. And I was like, oh my God, you can structure songs in a different way. I was kind of grew up, my mom listened to oldies or whatever, my dad was listening to the Beatles, and I heard songs in that kind of way, which kind of made more logical sense,
Sure.
at least to me. And so when I heard these things kind of manipulated in a different, crazy way, it I don't know, it changed how I kind of thought about music. And then eventually, like Nirvana kind of exploded, and we all became punk rockers in a way. At least a new version of punk rock. And then after that, somehow my buddy Ward and I got into like kind of rockabilly and Reverend Horton Heat. I've always been a big fan of local music, so Tripping Daisy, Course of Empire, Three on a Hill, like all these kind of bands that that kind of formed where we are. And I especially like going to Deep Ellum, and I had an ID that said I was like 17 when I was like 14. So I could get into trees. So that was super
That's
cool.
the first time I heard of someone having a fake ID that was
I know,
17.
I know, just to go to the trees, right? But it was super cool. Like I loved going to see shows, and then that was kind of what I did. I would not sneak out, but I was just like, you go to Deep Ellum, and it was fine back then. And so I was lucky to get to see a lot of great local artists like play. It was just inspiring and cool and everything. And eventually, when I started playing music, really in high school, and we started getting to go play in clubs in Deep Ellum, that was really where everything kind of changed, because we went from fake IDs to now they just kind of let us drink in the clubs. And we were like 17 or 18, like okay, I guess now we hang out here. And I remember playing this one show, and I had some friends from high school come, and they're like, look, you're cool to drink here, but like your bonehead friends can't come in too. Like, that's not how this works. I'm like, okay, I get it. So it was cool getting a sweet little like pass to kind of jump around and do whatever.
Sure.
But I don't know. I guess I always loved music, and when I went to college, I'm a big movie fan, and I've always loved movies, and I really wanted to go get into. So I went to film school. I went to Emerson in Boston, and
interesting. Okay.
Yeah, and that was like I was like, okay, well, this is the thing I should probably like. Music seems, anyways, and so I didn't really know what to do. I kind of snuck my way in there through acting, really. And I got into film program and did that for 4 years. And when I graduated, at that time Ward was going to Brown, and I was in Boston, so he was in Providence. And so we would play once a month, either in Providence or Boston, or we'd fly back here to Dallas and play. And so we were still playing, and in the summers we were touring, at least around Texas. But right when we graduated, we recorded an album that kind of, well, at least 6 months later or whatever, we recorded this album, and we had shopped it around, and we got signed to this Australian record label through like South by Southwest, and because that's what you could do back then, right? Like get record deals, you know what I mean? Like it's asinine now to think about it. Like, what are you doing there? Like, I'm trying to get a Monster energy drink or whatever. But we got this deal, and so they kind of basically said, okay, your album comes out, we're gonna, you're gonna do an Australian tour, and then at that point we were like, well, why don't we go to Europe because you're putting it out there too? And they're like, well, we don't know how to help you do that. And then so Ward and I every day for I don't know how many weeks would get up and call, like cold call Europe, like just random venues. And we knew that Slobberbone was playing in London, so we were like, okay, if we can jump on that bill, that we can kind of anchor around that. Anyways, in a long story short, we did a 3.5-week tour that we kind of self-booked, and because of that, we like we got a booking agent and blah blah blah. And so, but I don't know, that kind of drive, I feel like, was what really, that's how you do it. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like my mentality has always been like, there's no other way to do it than just to do it.
Right.
And so, yeah, man, I've been pretty lucky, relatively speaking.
Yeah. Doesn't sound like luck, though. It sounds like hard work, and then you just happen to be good so that, like, you got the gigs when you called,
Right. We didn't anger too many people.
Yeah.
A lot of times it felt like, we were sprinting at a brick wall, but like, sometimes we'd break through.
Yeah. So you're doing all of this, like, playing, and when did you start recording, producing, like getting on the other side of it?
Well, I mean, that through my whole life, I would go to Radio Shack and build these little things, and you're using mixers and tape decks and trying to figure out how to do it. So I've always kind of been interested in that. But when I really started doing this was when Ward comes up a lot in this interview, I guess. But he wanted to become a rapper at one point, and I was like, I'll figure out how to do it. I don't know. And so I stole a copy of like Ableton or something, and basically tried to figure out how to build beats and record. And after that, another guy wanted to do an album. He bought me like a preamp, like a good one that I could record, and a mic. And so at this point, I kind of started growing gear. And really not long into it, Josh Fleming, now Jenny, called and was wanted to start this Americana band. And I had the O's already going. And I had a pretty good understanding of kind of what the music he was trying to make. I got into this with Janik. Sorry, it was he and now it is she. And
right.
When I think about it in the past tense, I'm not trying to be insensitive. But when that started, I could kind of help navigate because I knew what cowpunk was essentially. My band Slick 57 was that, and so I could kind of help guide that in a way. So super lucky that really happened because that formed in basically my garage studio at the time.
You were in the original lineup?
Sort of. I mean, I kind of helped just kind of craft the songs, and I mean, they're her songs, but I definitely, we talked about it a lot, and we kind of helped, and we helped each other in a way.
Gotcha.
And then I was in the original lineup. I was playing banjo in it. And then the second album we did at Audio Dallas, and that I thought was pretty big deal. I thought it was really cool. And then basically one thing kind of led to another, really. The O's were playing with Ottoman Turks down in College Station, kind of around 2015. And that's when I met Josh Walker and those guys, and I produced their 2 albums. And then I did, of course, Josh's record, which I've done all his records, but that was pretty. It happened all kind of organically. Is that a stupid word to use? But like, it just kind of one became the other, and I don't know. I love it. I more than in many ways more than touring. I love producing. I like to be part of it. I like to help people see what they're, because most people say, "Oh, I had this in my head," like a lot of times it's a bit of nonsense, like what are you talking about? It's like, well, this sound, it's in my head, and it's like that's it, and so I like helping people find that because that's super cool. Like I don't know, it's a really good feeling when at the end of it they're like, this is what I like, this is my favorite record I've done or whatever, and that's all I want to hear, know.
That's cool. I mean, it is. You're like a dream maker, as it were.
Yeah, I mean, a way. I mean, yeah. I mean, I don't know. I just think it's creating is the most important thing in this, maybe in the world to me. So like I feel like if I can help somebody create what they're trying to do, whether it's in their brain or whatever, then that's a great success.
Right.
And that's all I'm looking for.
Yeah.
And hopefully make enough money to keep the lights on.
Yeah. How concerned are you when you're in the project? Like we were kind of joking about before, how like it's never finished. Like to replicate the recordings, or is that not as important to you? Like
Live, you mean?
Yeah.
I don't adhere to that. Like, I mean, we're not the Eagles, they're masters at that, and they had a year to build an album that made sense. Most people now have a week, right? So
Yeah.
no, every song has to evolve at that point because you don't have enough time to really develop it.
Right.
So if everybody had the luxury of 3 months of making a record, then I would probably think a lot differently about each part being very precious. But now it's like I try to it's like a snapshot. I try to capture what's happening. I like the sound to be a band in a room, so to speak, or whatever kind of artist in a room. I don't overly produce. At least I don't think I do. I try to keep things as kind of natural as possible. So I don't know. What was the question?
Well, you kind of answered it. Like, well, let me ask you this because it made me think of something. Like, what's the longest you've worked on a record that you recorded?
Like I don't know the answer to that.
I mean, like, has there been one that's gone over a month? Or is it pretty
Yeah,
much...
but I mean, it's never consistent like every day for a month. But sure, I mean, yeah, like generally it takes like 10 days or something, to like cut a record.
Right.
Unless it's Josh, and then we go, oh man, we have like a month, it's gonna be great, and then managers and agents get involved, and then it's okay, we have 4 days, and fucking every record we've done has been like that. It's like the latest one that's about to come out, or whenever I don't know when this drops. So, when it comes out, but we did that in a week here, like, and so he had how many ever days? We did 100 hours in 1 week. We just did it.
Yeah.
So, and then Tropicana we did in a couple days, and it's just like, it just depends on everybody. I would love to have a month in a studio with a band,
right,
but it just doesn't seem to happen.
I mean, how would it be different though? I mean, it sounds like you've got a method, right?
Yeah, I think it would just be nice to relax.
Yeah. Okay.
Instead of just whip cracking the whole time. It's like, all right, let's go. Because, yeah, I guess you're right. I don't know. I guess it's the grass is always greener.
Yeah.
Then I have all this time, and then it's just like we're just sitting around drinking beers or something. I don't know. Like,
yeah, I mean, that could be fun too.
Yeah. But I like to have fun. I don't know. I like to have a good time. I want to make sure everybody's comfortable. It's really like how I look at it.
Yeah.
I
was listening to the recording of Stuff, and man, it killed me. And I didn't know what it was about till he came on, and then I was like, I mean, that was a brilliant concept for that whole album, I thought.
Oh yeah.
But God, that song especially just really got me.
Yeah, that might have been the first one we kind of went through. Like, cause I'm assuming he told you the kind of the whole story. Yeah. So I don't need to like reiterate, but.
Yeah, go back and listen to the Josh episode.
Yeah, I would say that would be better, right?
Yeah,
let's get everybody watching these episodes.
But like the process of that one specifically, or that. I mean, is he coming to you with like a lot of ideas? Are you kind of fleshing them out together?
That particular one was together, a lot of it. I mean, he had the idea. He was like, I want to do an album about stuff, and I was like, so. We knew the parameters out of the gate, but a lot of the time we spent was kind of, I would say in a weird way, pre-production, but that was really just writing. And that was dependent on his health, or just, I don't know, our capacity at the day or whatever. Sometimes we were just playing Rocket League, sometimes... But it was just dependent. Like, if you got bad news from the doctor, he's like, I don't want to fucking write a song. Let's just fucking have fun.
Yeah.
And so and I was going through my own shit at the time, so it was kind of like pretty nice. We just had a lot of time to kind of think about it. So when it did come time to record it, we had at least pretty aware of the objective fast, and then we had to use everything in this room. Like we couldn't. That was one of the parameters. It was like, okay, if it's not in here, we're not gonna. It's not done.
Huh.
And it was like we had to kind of play all the instruments. And the songs we used. I mean, we knew we needed to write about a suit, or we needed to write about this and that. But yeah, I mean, it was all. He would kind of have an idea, and then we would kind of just flesh it out. I mean, he's a master songwriter, and I can help supplement. But I'm aware he's a bad motherfucker.
Yeah.
And so it's pretty. So, but I'm pretty good at kind of helping extract things out of people. Like if we sit there and talk about it, we can write a song, and that's kind of where I'm good at it. I'm good at hooks, like in melodies. So like I can help people craft that way. And so like I said, we did that in 1 week. I think it was 95 hours is what we really spent on it, and I was told I was gonna have a month. So that was stressful. The mix of that was stressful. I was like, oh my god, I have to turn this in, and anyways. But
yeah, I think it's funny because I'm just thinking about how I consider you a good producer, because I think one definition of being a good producer, besides making a good song, is your thumbprint's on it, but you had no care or intention of doing that. It just naturally happened,
Yeah, I get real confused when producers make albums that sound like them. It's really weird to me.
Yeah.
That is never my intention. And if it does happen, it's I'm just trying to make song better. How do you make song more good? Okay, and then that's really my only intention.
Right.
And so I just want to make what you want to make better, or come to life. And it's really my only goal. And if somebody doesn't have any clue what they're doing, then maybe that would be I don't know. But luckily, that's not really the situation usually.
That's not how you're working with people usually.
Not usually. Idea. I mean, I work with newer artists, obviously. I mean, Vando's first album was that, and Josh's first album was that. But I talk about I probably yap too much, but I like to get the idea concrete enough before we're really going. Otherwise, you're just throwing darts. Mm-hmm. And I want to make sure what are you listening to? What are you trying? What do you think this is going to sound like? Because some people are like, oh, I want it to be like this, and and they're saying, I don't know, whatever band it would be, Need to Breathe or something, you know what I mean? And you're like, okay, but it's like a folk song, and you're like, well, or a metal song, you know what I mean? It's like a disconnect of what you're trying to do. And so anyways, I just try to tie the thing together.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of these are success stories. Has there been a time where you're working on a song, the band's like, this is not what I wanted it to be?
I mean, yeah, I guess so. Yeah, to a certain degree. You can't have they're not all wins,
Yeah.
Because you're throwing ideas out, and I'm pretty fast about just committing to a sound, and okay, well, this is it. Because how I like to record, in general, you kind of have to make sure that everything sounds good going in. And there was this weird time in the 2000s where people were recording dry signal guitars and then reamping and all this stuff. Huh. And I never really got that, because if you record this and it sounds like that, and then you add something to that sound, if that's not correct, then really you're just adding shit to shit, and then now you're confused. It just muddied the whole thing up. And it kind of always confused me why that would have been the method. But I think people were just scared.
Committing to that sound in the first
place.
Right.
Yeah. So, surely I don't always win, Well,
what happens when you come up with someone and they're like, I mean, how hard is it to go back and fix it or make it more what they want?
That's pretty easy. Sometimes I'll be like, come on, man, you need this in there. But I don't, but generally it's not really what I do.
I mean, most people are coming to you
for
your ear and for your, ideas.
Right. And so sometimes, the only time that comes an issue, I'm like, well, you hired me to do this, and then you wanted that sound, and that's the exact sound, because I did it. But like in general, like that doesn't happen too often, I think. But because we're all on the same page, like I have a lot of communication beforehand generally because I don't want to get into that situation. I don't want to like have done something that they didn't want.
Right.
And so I try to be pretty aware of that.
Yeah. I feel like
at least sensitive to that.
If they're not like just getting wasted and not paying attention to what you're doing.
Right. Getting the drinking in the studio, that's something I used to do when I recorded, but I kind of knew the sound. It was fine because like I knew where we were headed, and it was more just me and say the O's or something. We were just fucking having fun.
Yeah.
And I was like, if this isn't fun, I don't want to do it. So like,
right.
But yeah, some people, especially green recording people, like if they're wasted, that can make problems.
Yeah, that's probably nerves a lot, right?
Yeah, totally. Because it's weird. Recording stuff is really strange. It's like it's like being on camera or whatever. It's like it's not ever if you're not kind of used to it. It's really strange.
Yeah.
You're hearing things through like headphones. You're like, well, that's not how it sounds.
Yeah.
You're like, unfortunately, that is how it sounds. It's just not air pushing around the room.
Yeah.
And so I try to kind of, especially like newer people are like, okay, if it doesn't sound good coming back through these two speakers, then it's not good. And that's really what's important. It's not important what it sounds like live on a record. It's what is important is it sounds good. Like a drummer or something, I'll be like, you can be playing a trash can. If it sounds better than a snare drum, then that's better. Mm-hmm. If it's snare drum makes if I can't hear the vocal because of snare drum, then the snare drum's wrong. And so I have that argument. Well, conversation with drummers relatively often because it's like, look, you gotta like be aware of how to not, I don't know, get in the way of cause the vocal usually has to win.
Yeah.
And so I just try to be as yappy as possible. And
because I've had a few studio experiences. I had many more live, and I get it. Like especially drummers, but gearheads in general. Like that are only playing live and they come to the studio and it's like it's an adjustment period.
Yeah, of course.
So
because it just has to sound good. It's got to sound good on a phone or whatever. It's got to sound good on these things. And live, you have a crowd giving you energy, mm-hmm. and you don't have that in a studio. You just got me, And so you got to go, okay, how do I put the same power into this? It's just a whole different beast.
Yeah.
And so, I don't know, hopefully people are better at it now than they were because everybody records themselves now.
True. Yeah,
so,
that's true.
And so most people are at least, and they have School of Rock now, or like in Sounds and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, God, I feel like everyone we have has been at Sounds or at Booker T or
right.
It's like everybody's got this crazy music background from early on, so...
That is not what we grew up with,
no,
man. We grew up with maybe a tape deck, and you're like, what did he do? Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Play it louder. He's like, got it.
Right, my first Tascam 4 channel, and it's like you're trying to get that hiss out, and
I think I got a line on one of those. Every time I find one, it's too expensive or it's broken and too expensive. But I do love an old Tascam 424. Yeah. Oh, my God.
Yeah, we even had a Dr. Rhythm doing our beats early on.
Ah, nice.
Yeah, it was pretty trashy, but it has its place, I guess.
Yeah.
So I mean, sometimes you go out and play with Josh as well. Are you like in his band, or he kind of like mixes it up?
Yeah, I'm more of like auxiliary help, So, he has a steel player that shreds, and so if he's available, I generally am not part of that lineup unless it's at like a TV thing or kind of a big deal. Maybe he's playing the Ryman or something. Then he'll ask me to come on because it just adds to the sound. But he's a shredder guitar player, so he doesn't really need another player.
Well, at this point, I mean, is it 50-50 recording and playing live, or is it more producing?
Nah, it's probably 90-10 right now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Is that how you like it? I mean, you prefer it that way? Or?
Yeah. I mean, putting out, like, I'm going to release at least 1 or 2 records in the next 6 months. And, like, I don't know. I can't tour like I used to. Like, I just don't have, I don't have enough money. I'll lose money. Mm-hmm. It's too expensive. And I don't have, like, the same kind of level of backing that would require to tour that much. So but that said, I enjoy being in the studio. Like, I like doing this. I like, at the end of the day, you have like something that you can hear back that you've created. Mm-hmm. And when you're on tour, you have like the subway bag in the bottom of the floorboard, and you're like, what have I done with my life?
Right. Well, also, we're living in an era where you don't have to play live to get your music out there at all,
Yeah, right. Which is kind of crazy.
Yeah.
Like, you'll have these festivals, and they're like, this viral person is now headlining. And then they've played maybe a show.
Oh, I've been at venues where the staff is like, oh my God, they do not know how to act in a venue on a stage.
Right.
Yeah,
because you're in it all the time.
Yeah.
I'm sure you see this a ton.
Yeah.
Like, well, relatively speaking,
Not as much because, I'm trying to knock all the old guys off my list. So
right.
There's a James Taylor and like old people and 70-year-olds. But, that's who I grew up with. I'm trying to get them while they're still here,
I heard that James Taylor show was awesome.
It was great. I mean, the last time I saw him was high school.
Oh, wow.
He's been doing it for a long time. And,
yeah. Yeah, but I heard his solo stuff in particular was like magical.
Yeah. Well, he had a full band. He had full harmonies.
Right.
His son was with him doing harmonies. And the harmonies, for me, just really always add something to a show. I just love harmony. Like, I guess the Beatles started me on that. But
yeah, of course.
We kind of brushed over. You were like an actor at one point, like in high school and stuff?
Well, sort of. Like, I was in like theater stuff in high school, and really my claim to fame of acting, though, I was in a partnership for Drug Free America commercial when I was a kid. And if you recall, there was this one where this kid is skateboarding through a neighborhood, and he happens upon me, who I hand him a joint, and it says like, kids in your neighborhood are doing this too, or whatever. So like, anyway, so I was a child actor, no big deal.
Yeah.
And then I was in a Big Red commercial, MBD. But I didn't really have that kind of aspiration. But in high school, I was kind of doing acting, and I thought I could kind of get into film school. And I only applied to Emerson, and I applied to NYU. And I got in early to Emerson, and I was like, I really wanted to go to Boston. I was like, I don't know why, I just kind of wanted to go there more than I wanted to go to New York. So it worked out. But I got in because I did the acting, this kind of showcase thing, and they gave me X amount of money. And then right when I got there, I was like, and I switched over to film. So it was a very sneaky move, but I wasn't really good. I don't really know why, like I just wasn't bad, I guess.
Right.
And I maybe had slight confidence.
I don't know why, but I see a future. I don't know if you've thought about this, doing soundtracks, like scoring films.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's kind of what Josh and I are, there's a documentary about him, and we're literally, this is another fucking thing. So it was like, okay, we were going to have 2 months to do this. And literally, I have 2 days. 2 days.
Oh my God.
To do this. So, next Tuesday and Wednesday, we are going to do a soundtrack for a movie.
Wow. How long's the movie?
Luckily, it's only like 25 minutes.
Okay, that's a little bit easier to deal with, but still.
It's still, there's X amount of cues to hit, anyways. But no, I really want to do, I love film. I really want to do more of it. So hopefully this will lead to more, because like it's the best. Like, I don't know, you're marrying picture and sound and visual. Like, it's all like it's all of it at once. And and I love that. Like, music is a great dimension, and photography is a great dimension. But the marriage of the two is it's just what a cool thing.
Yeah,
like, I don't know. Like,
well, no, you don't have to play those songs live. I mean, it's just like it's meant for a specific purpose,
Right. And so hopefully more of that stuff kind of comes along. We'll see. I don't know.
I talk about it a lot on the podcast. Like, they just passed a big film incentive in Texas, and one of the things, one of the ways it works is that if you have X amount of Dallas music, X amount of Texas music, they get a money break.
Right.
So
yeah, that's hopefully, and especially that big studio that they built and everything.
There's a few actually coming up.
Right, and so the more of that, the more production that comes here, the better. Like, it'd be super cool.
Yeah.
And we all like in Hollywood, from what I understand, is like just the production is not the same. At least the
My friend
podcasts I've listened to.
does wardrobe, and he's like, there's a handful of shows shooting here now.
Yeah,
like
and
almost nothing.
It's cool. I mean, I don't know. Just I don't want to get into the weeds of it, but like the look that LA has, that kind of that the filter that naturally looks good, we don't have that here, and so that adjustment is kind of strange. But like, hopefully, everything kind of looks like Walker Texas Ranger versus like everything looks like
Yeah, but they've
Rockford
got
Files.
lots of cool post effects. They can make it
Sure, like
work,
now
you know.
with color, we have better like color grading than at least easier
Yeah.
to work with. But anyway, so hopefully like more productions are here. Like
Yeah.
hope more is always more, and I will always believe that. Like the more art being created around us, the more better thing go.
Yeah. Well said. I'm gonna kind of wrap it up here, but like, are you old enough to have thought about like your legacy? Like, how do you want to be remembered? Like, is that something that ever comes into mind you talk about or think about?
I don't. I should be more aware of mortality, but I still feel like I'm like 17, and the jokes are still pretty much the same as they were when I was 17. So I don't know. I don't think about that. I would hope to not be considered an asshole. That would be like my main thing. Most people have revisionist history when people pass away, so hopefully they don't all have to revert to that.
Sure.
And it'd be like he was all right. No, I'm trying to I want to help. I know I recognize that I'm part of the Dallas scene, and I hope that I continue to be, and I hope that I continue to help make it better. I don't know. I hopefully haven't made things worse.
You haven't. You're doing a good thing. All right. Actually, I lied. The last thing I'm going to ask you is because you said Dallas and this Dallas famous. Like, how do you see Dallas music? Like, you've got a world perspective. How do you see it fitting into the world of music?
Well, I mean, hugely because we have guys like Charlie Crockett, and I'd say Leon Bridges. Because I know Fort Worth is
It's
extended.
TFW, sure.
But I mean, Selena Gomez. Like you have like giant stars, Post Malone. So I mean, how is Dallas music? It's huge. It's massive, and is a big component of not only our scene but of the world landscape. So it's not small fry, and it's interesting that like it's hard to kind of be a local band anywhere. That is not. And to break out into the scene is tough. But if you actually work hard and you actually try to navigate out of this metroplex tour-wise or something, you're going to find more success. It's not that crazy. So it is doable. And I do think I don't want to like compare apples and oranges with other cities, but other places that claim like a lot of music doesn't have what we have, because there is something in this water, and I think that we've got something that it's super viable, and I think it's only going to get better. As we hope that more people go to shows, and we hope more venues like open, and we hope venues don't close. More importantly, which seems to be the only kind of thing in our way, and hopefully somebody comes along and there's another venue around the corner because yet another one has gone down. And if they're like you said, Artco, or if there's more kind of smaller venues like that, to give people places to play. But it's tough. That's the tough part. Is like really where do you go? Where is that venue?
Yeah, it's tricky. The live thing is tricky here, I feel, but
it is. But it's tricky everywhere. Like we could argue that like, whatever, this or that, that there's a lot of cover bands, but that's not really the issue. People want to hear cover bands, so it's like at least musicians getting paid. That's great.
Yeah.
But getting your music heard and making people want to hear your music is more important, and it's tough because you got to be a marketing agent on Instagram or TikTok or whatever. So that I don't know. I'm too old to really understand algorithms.
Yeah, trust me, I am learning and not learning fast. That's for sure.
Yeah.
John, this is fantastic. Thanks for having us over. Thanks for talking with us. Stick around. John's going to play a song in a minute, and thanks for everything.
Yeah, thank you for coming over, man. I hope you enjoy yourself. Have a drink, sit back, relax. I got a pond outside.
You do. Right on. Thank you.
All right. Adios.